Welcome back to the Race Strategy Society, and this is your Chinese Grand Prix strategy briefing. Now, in the year of the horse in Shanghai, will it be horsepower, a prancing horse, or even a dark horse that takes the win? Now, because the story heading into the race looks a little bit like this. Mercedes arrive here looking completely dominant. Now, straight line speed, deployment efficiency, traction out of turn 13, everything you need to control that long Shanghai straight. At this circuit, and that matters enormously. Why? Because the Shanghai International Circuit is a 56-lap race, 56 laps of wheel-to-wheel, all-out racing, and the layout naturally creates a strategic rhythm. Drivers accelerate onto the 1.2-kilometer back straight, the longest in Formula One, before braking heavily into turn 14. If a driver ahead begins to lose traction out of turn 13 because of tyre degradation, for example, or graining, or they run out of deployment on the straight, the car behind suddenly has a real opportunity to overtake. Which is why Shanghai often produces that familiar cat and mouse dynamic, one driver defending energy and tyres, the other waiting for the moment the balance swings. If the race settles into that rhythm, it's likely to play directly into Mercedes' hands, which means if Ferrari want to disrupt it, they need to do something before that rhythm begins and have a little bit of luck on their side, although they are racing in red. Now, Ferrari's best opportunity to try to hold on to that position or even get it in the first place is at the start, the first few hundred meters. Their launches have been strong this season, and that's partly because the power unit behaves differently during the launch phase. At the start of the race, drivers are not yet deploying electrical energy the way they do during a lap. Instead, the launch depends heavily on clutch control, traction, and the turbo response as the torque builds. A turbo that spools quickly, like theirs, that's a bit smaller, delivers a torque edge, which can help the car accelerate harder off the line. But it's a knife edge. They then have to keep depending us. Now, what did the sprint teach us about the tyres? It gave us valuable preview of tyre behaviour. Two patterns stood out immediately. The medium tyre showed front left graining, particularly through the long turn 1-2 complex. The data suggests roughly the medium was about 0.12 seconds per lap deg once the graining appeared. By contrast, the hard on Liam Lawson looked very robust, about 100th lap. That's effectively a very durable race tyre if the graining holds off. Interestingly, both McLaren and Red Bull appeared to struggle more with graining, which could push them towards different strategies. Now, because of that tyre behaviour, this race could play out with multiple viable strategies, similar to the Chinese Grand Prix in 2019, where some teams committed to a one-stop, others pushed to a two-stop. Now, the most strategies look like this. Strategy 1, the baseline, expecting most cars, if not all, to start the race, targeting a one-stop. Now, medium-hard is the most logical race. Start on the medium for launch grip, early performance, and then switch onto the more durable hard tyre. If drivers can manage the medium during the opening stint, and the hard looks capable of comfortably reaching the finish line. Likely baseline strategy for Mercedes, probably Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton. Strategy 2, the aggressive option, medium, hard, hard. Now, if the medium begins to grain heavily, the race could shift to a two-stop. In fact, the pitting window for a medium, hard, hard and a medium, hard could even be the same depending on the hard performance if that starts to grain too on high fuel. Teams struggling with front left degradation, potentially McLaren and Red Bull, may prefer this approach because it allows them to push harder rather than manage the tyres. Fresh tyres here also make the undercut particularly powerful. Now, wildcard, hard medium. Starting on hard avoids that early graining phase on medium entirely. Run long, let the race spread out, and then attack later on fast tyres. But it is very high risk, especially here in strategy, because the undercut is so powerful and the hard isn't guaranteed to last. When the benchmark is a faster car, teams might need to want to take that level of risk, whether it's Ferrari and Red Bull fighting Mercedes or a midfield team trying desperately to get into the points. Higher risk, higher reward. Typically, we see teams towards the back being the first to box, being tempted by that free air going into the undercut. Now, reverse strategies become more viable this year because we've got a bigger separation of the field itself where the leaders can build a gap and they sometimes find clear air windows that make alternative strategies work. Now, how do you race a faster competitor? Well, when one team appears quicker, the classic strategists move towards splitting strategies across both cars. For example, both cars might start on a medium tyre, then one car pits early to attack with the undercut, while the other extends the stint, balances tyre life and potentially covers safety car or virtual safety car windows. You're effectively creating two different races for the faster team to react to if they only have one car left in the race. Another option, that Hail Mary, place a car on hard tyre from the start, hoping to run long and attack later. Now, Shanghai has seen this tyre story before. The Chinese Grand Prix has produced similar tyre dynamics in the past. In 2018, the softer compound suffered significantly with graining, while the hard compound could run extremely long. Later in the race, once fuel loads dropped and the track rubbered in, the softer tyres suddenly became the faster race tyre again, allowing drivers on fresher rubber to attack. The reminder that tyre performance can shift dramatically across the race difference. Just ask Daniel Ricciardo, that's how he won in 2018, boxed onto the safety car, fresh starts and able to do. Shanghai's long straight means overtaking is always possible, especially if a driver is losing traction out of turn 13. Now, if we see a late safety car or a restart or a red flag with only a couple of laps remaining, the leading car can suddenly become extremely vulnerable, even with the fastest car. One mistake exiting the final corner, one poor deployment phase, or just only having one opportunity to defend against that powerful mushroom overtake button, the car behind could arrive with a huge speed advantage. It's one of the few circuits where a leader can still be right under real threat until the end of the race, but it is a theme we might see more this year. Mercedes arrive, they're the team to beat. Horsepower advantage. Ferrari bring the Prancing Horse, and their best chance might come off the start line. Behind them, teams like McLaren might have to think more creatively if graining becomes severe. It could mean two stops, split strategies, or even a reverse starting on hard. Because when the benchmark is this strong, the only way to beat them is not to race the same race. And if someone rolls the dice correctly, we may yet see a dark horse emerge in Shanghai. Otherwise, it will be George Russell, Kimi Antonelli, and horsepower that reigns supreme in Shanghai. Enjoy the race. I'll be back after for all the debrief.